And then the U.S. Agency for International Development. Boy, this was a mind fuck when I heard about this. Staffers at the USAID were instructed to stay out. People who worked there were told to stay away from the Washington headquarters. And officers in yellow police tape blocked the agency's lobby this morning. And that's after billionaire Elon Musk announced that Trump had agreed with him, Musk, to close down the agency. Close it down. What did this rotten son of a bitch Elon Musk say about USAID? He said it was run by radical lunatics. No, that's what Trump said. Musk was even more blatantly filthy in his criticism of USAID. But anyway, the staffers who worked there said more than 600 employees had reported being locked out of the computer system over the weekend. And those still in the system received emails saying that, quote, at the direction of agency leadership, the building will be closed to agency personnel on Monday, February 3rd. And then the agency's website vanished Saturday without explanation. Do you understand this? I know you do. So this all of this happened after thousands of USAID employees already have been laid off and programs shut down in the 2 weeks since this orange son of a bitch and his head of the Department of Government Efficiency, the South African Nazi Musk, took over. Musk announced the closing of the agency early this morning. And then this toy Secretary of State that we have all of a sudden, poor old Marco Rubio, he was out of the country on a trip to Central America. And Rubio issued a statement, I think, that said something to the effect that USAID would now be under the purview of the U.S. State Department, whatever the fuck that means. Now, the orange bastard and his Nazi cadre, they've also ordered a freeze on foreign assistance of all types, all foreign aid shut down. And the effects of that around the planet are going to be devastating. The United States, because of what we've been or tried to be, we're the largest provider of humanitarian aid. And what these two Nazis have done is upended decades of policy that put humanitarianism, development, and security assistance at the very core of the efforts to build alliances and to counter the adversaries, including China and Russia, and in that process develop democracies. Democracies have always been said to be the bulwark against totalitarianism of all its forms, whether it's far left or far right, which to me, they're both the same. So what the Trump bastard is trying to do, obviously, is to destroy the bulwark. He doesn't want this. Just like Elon Musk going to attend this meeting of Alternative for Germany, the rise of German neo-Nazism last week, towards the end of last week. Jesus Christ. So Trump and Musk have forced U.S. and international companies to shut down, literally stop tens of thousands of programs across the globe that are funded with USAID money. And we don't contribute that much. I think I read it's 0.01% of the national budget, or about $80 billion that goes to keep USAID programs going, whether those programs are about global health or if they're about establishing democratic organizations, supporting an independent press, whatever it has been working toward the goal of a democratic form of government instead of the fascism that has now taken over this country. In the early stages of taking over this country. So, the South African Nazi and Donald Trump decide, okay, we are going to end foreign aid, which Congress appropriates. We're going to end the funding for the U.S. Agency for International Development, which Congress funds, and that is in direct violation of the U.S. Constitution. But do these Nazi fuckers care? Of course not, because they know that as long as they control all three branches of government, that there is not a single, not one Christian fascist, a.k.a. Republican, in the House or the Senate or any place who is in a position of power is going to stand up on their hind legs and say, wait a minute, this has got to stop. This is unconstitutional. This is illegal. This is against the law. No, they're not doing that. What they are doing is assisting in their silence. And remember the old motto from the AIDS activists, silence equals death. I know you understand that, and that's what causes me to have the sleepless nights that I've been having lately. Silence equals death. Wow. Here we are. Now, Democratic lawmakers, such as they are, have protested all this. They are saying the obvious, that the orange bastard, and especially the South African Nazi, do not have constitutional authority to shut down USAID without congressional approval. But that means nothing. It is totally, completely meaningless. Trump does not give a rat's ass about what the Constitution says. And the South African Nazi, he doesn't either. He grew up under apartheid. He knows where the power lies. The power lies in the grip of white nationalists, no matter what the country is. And that's what he's displaying. Now, this morning, 2 State Department employees who tried to gain access to the USAID offices in the building said they were turned away by rent-a-cops, security guards, who told them the offices were open, but people were not allowed to go in. Yeah, what's that called? Doublethink? And later this morning, uniformed Department of Homeland Security officers blocked the lobby of the USAID's headquarters using yellow tape that had the words on them, "Do not cross." Do not cross. Now, all of this came about after the South African Nazi, who's leading the civilian review of the federal government with Trump's permission, right? Musk said this morning that he had spoken with Trump about this 60-year-old USAID, and the South African Nazi said Trump agreed we should shut it down. And then this fucking Trump, Musk, it's hard to tell them apart anymore. He said this, quote, "It's become apparent that it's not an apple with a worm in it. What we have is just a ball of worms. You've got to basically get rid of the whole thing. It's beyond repair," end quote. Okay. Now, since the orange son of a bitch took office again, a bunch of slime from his first administration, such as Peter Morocco, have placed more than 50 senior officials on leave for investigation without any explanation, which is gutting USAID's leadership. They are destroyed it. They are destroying it. Destroying it. And what about the FBI? See, this is what I mean, what you know about, the fire hose of shit that comes from Donald Trump's insane goddamn brain. The Trump administration is going to expand the purge that started Friday night. Talk about a Friday night massacre. A purge of career law enforcement officials Trump is demanding the names of anyone who worked on prosecuting the son of a bitches, including the orange bastard who tried to overthrow the U.S. government on January 6, 2021. And this purge is going to affect thousands of FBI employees and agents who were doing, they were following the orders of their supervisors to investigate criminal activity perpetrated against the United States. The FBI, the last letter, I, investigation. It's not a prosecuting organization. It is an investigating organization. And if there's anything that Trump does not want, it's investigation. So he's going after all of them. And leaders of the FBI were instructed this past Friday to provide the Justice Department by tomorrow with the names of all current and former FBI employees who, quote, at any time, end quote, worked on the January 6 investigations. That's according to an email from the acting FBI director, some fucking Nazi named Brian Driscoll, and that email was obtained by CNN. The Justice Department, according to this email, the Justice Department is going to review those employees to, quote, determine whether any additional personnel actions are necessary, end quote. The intimidation here is unfucking believable what they are doing. Destroy the press, compromise the judiciary, destroy the investigations and policing organizations and replace them with Nazis like Trump and Musk. Now, Driscoll wrote, this Brian Driscoll, who is currently the acting FBI director, he wrote to all Bureau personnel this, quote, this request encompasses thousands of employees across the country who have supported these investigative efforts. Supported these investigative efforts. And then another directive, Driscoll attached to the email a memo from the acting Deputy Attorney General, this email Beauvais, and in the subject line of this memo was the word termination. This is what it said, according to CNN, quote, for each employee included in the lists, provide the current title, office to which the person is assigned, role in the investigation or prosecution, and date of last activity relating to the investigation or prosecution. Upon timely receipt of the requested information, the Office of the Deputy Attorney General will commence a review process to determine whether any additional personnel actions are necessary. Beauvais added this, the FBI, including the Bureau's prior leadership, actively participated in what President Trump appropriately described as, quote, a grave national injustice that has been perpetrated on the American people over the last 4 years with respect to events that occurred at or near the U.S. Capitol on January 6, 2021. You see where we're going. I know you do. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. The Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.